Welcome to this explainer. High above the misty, pine-clad hills of Bharmour in Himachal Pradesh, there's this incredible mystery. Imagine a place where the air just smells heavily of cedar and the silence is so profound, literally so absolute, that it's considered sacred. We're talking about the domain of Bharmani Mata. To the locals, she's not just a deity, she is the absolute supreme matriarch of the valley. Her journey to becoming the guardian of these peaks is a seriously fascinating story of divine boundaries and, well, cosmic respect. So let's dive into this ultimate paradox. Why does Lord Shiva, who, as we all know, is one of the supreme deities, a literal cosmic force, why does he require his own devotees to seek permission from a local mountain goddess before they can even see him? To figure out how a solitary matriarch actually made Lord Shiva wait, we have to go back to the very beginning of her story. Which brings us to our first section, a sanctuary in the clouds. Let's look at Bharmani Mata's peace. Before she became this ultimate gatekeeper, Bharmani Mata was just looking for a quiet place to be. She was searching for the absolute perfect spot for tapasya, that state of deep, intense meditation that requires unbroken, absolute solitude. So she traveled far from the lowlands, pushing way up into the rugged, snow-capped Doladar range, and she finally found it. A pristine, secluded hill completely surrounded by these towering deodar trees. She settled in, and for years, her spiritual energy just radiated through the forest. It was so incredibly peaceful that the local mountain streams actually slowed down, and the birds, they literally sang softer, just so they wouldn't disturb her. It's like the whole mountain was holding its breath for her. But then, things changed. Section 2. The night pilgrims arrive. After centuries of undisturbed silence, that absolute peace was just suddenly shattered. Bharmani Mata opens her eyes to the sound of hundreds of approaching footsteps. And we're not talking about a few lost hikers here. It was Lord Shiva himself, bound for his cosmic abode at Mount Kailash. And he didn't come alone. He brought this massive, boisterous entourage, 84 ancient sages known as siddhas, a totally chaotic host of roaring ghouls, and all sorts of other divine spirits. They were completely wiped out from their journey, and Shiva takes one look at Bharmani Mata's serene hill and decides, yep, this is the perfect place to set up camp for the night. In the blink of an eye, you have this intense clash of realities. Think about it. On one hand, you've got Bharmani Mata, fiercely guarding the silent, solitary meditation she'd cultivated for hundreds of years. And on the other hand, you've got Shiva's massive, loud, and totally exhausted traveling camp, desperate to just crash for the night. Her perfectly quiet sanctuary was instantly transformed into a bustling, chaotic campground. Now, Bharmani Mata didn't just sit back and let this happen. No way. Frowning at the disruption, she marched right up to the great ascetic. With her eyes flashing with divine authority, she didn't mince words. She basically told him flat out, Lord Shiva, this is my place of meditation. Your massive following is disrupting the quiet I have sought for centuries. You must take them and leave. I mean, wow! It's just this incredible moment of a localized power standing completely firm against a cosmic giant. Shiva, though, is famously known for his calm and gentle demeanor toward his devotees, right? So instead of getting angry, he just smiled warmly, bowed to the goddess, and made a really humble request. Acknowledging that the sun had set and the mountain paths were super treacherous in the dark, he said, "Grant us refuge for just one night. I promise you, by the first light of dawn, we will vanish." Seeing the sheer exhaustion of those 84 sages standing behind him, well, Bharmani Mata's heart finally softened. She agreed, but with one absolute, strict condition. One night only, and at dawn, the hill is hers again. Moving on to Section 3, the broken morning promise. Let's see what happens at sunrise. So, the night passes. As the very first rays of the sun paint the peaks of Manimahesh in these magnificent hues of gold, Bharmani Mata arrives to make sure Shiva kept his word. And true to his promise, Shiva had woken his followers. But then, an incredible twist happens, revolving around exactly 84 ancient sages. The siddhas were packing up, but as they looked back at the beautiful, serene hill they'd just slept on, it hit them. They realized they never, ever wanted to leave the sacred atmosphere. Rather than follow Shiva all the way up to Kailash, these 84 siddhas chose to stay right there, forever. They literally, physically turned to stone, transforming into 84 lingams.
And here's the crazy part. These very stones actually form the famous Chaurasi temple complex of Bharmour that sits just below the hill today. Shiva turned to the goddess and basically explained that, hey, while he was keeping his word and leaving, his followers had chosen to stay, meaning her land would forever be altered by their physical presence.
Which brings us to Section 4, the Sovereign Gatekeeper's Boon.
Even though Shiva was leaving, Bharmani Mata's absolute solitude was permanently ruined, gone. Sensing she was still pretty upset about this, Shiva knew he had to make amends. He had to honor the sacrifice of her sanctuary. So he issues this monumental decree. He declares that from that day forward, absolutely no pilgrimage to his holy seat at Manimahesh Lake would be considered complete without her blessing. He said, "Whosoever comes to seek me at Manimahesh must first climb to your hill, bathe in your holy pool, and seek your permission. If they bypass you to come straight to me, their prayers will fruitlessly wash away in the mountain snows." With those exact words, Shiva elevated her to the ultimate, undisputed gatekeeper of the pilgrimage.
Let's look at Section 5, the living legacy today. See, this wasn't just some myth that faded into the ancient past. This ancient diplomatic negotiation literally established the real-world rules for a grueling pilgrimage that happens every single year. If you were to undertake the Manimahesh Yatra today, you don't just march up to Shiva first. Nope. Step 1, you must make the steep trek up to the Bharmani Mata Temple. Step 2, you have to bathe in the freezing, crystal-clear waters of her holy pool, the Bharmani Kund. Step 3, you bow before her idol to ask the matriarch for her blessing. Only after all that do you proceed with safe passage into Shiva's territory. It absolutely proves that, centuries later, she remains the supreme matriarch and sovereign gatekeeper. As we wrap up this explainer today, I want you to really think about the balance of power and sacrifice we've just uncovered. Does true divine power lie in massive cosmic dominance? Or is it actually found in the quiet sovereignty of a solitary mountain goddess? The one who literally made Lord Shiva wait. High above the town of Bharmour, amidst the whispering deodars and that cool mountain breeze, Bharmani Mata sits in eternal peace. She's forever respected, forever sovereign. Hopefully, understanding her story inspires you to maybe seek out the quiet, sacred silence of Bharmour for yourself one day. Thanks for joining me, and keep seeking out the stories that shape our world.